No one is coming to save you, only you can save yourself. And this truth, no matter how cold it sounds, is the most precious gift you'll ever receive in life. Because the moment you stop waiting for someone, a phone call, a word of encouragement, or a miracle, is the moment you begin to reclaim control over your life. I'm not saying this to pressure you, I'm saying it because you need to face what most people spend their lives avoiding. No one can live your life for you. No one can work out for you, study for you, endure pain for you, or fight for you on your worst days. Everything you long for, a healthier body, a better career, a more peaceful soul, must start from within, not from the outside. The problem is, you've become too used to hiding behind excuses. You think you need more time, need someone to guide you, need someone to help you feel enough. But the truth is, you already are enough. You just haven't acted like you believe it. And that's why you still feel lost, why the world seems to move forward while you stand still. Not because you lack opportunity, but because you haven't chosen to focus entirely on yourself. When you wait for someone to rescue you, you give up something crucial, ownership. And you know what? Everything extraordinary in life only happens when you become 100% responsible for yourself. No blaming, no hiding, no excuses. Life doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to show up every day with one clear attitude. I'm not waiting anymore. The world out there doesn't care what you've been through. It only looks at who you are today and asks, are you focused enough? Are you building yourself each day, or are you distracted by other people's lives, social media, the news, other people's expectations? All of that is just noise. And noise doesn't build your life. Only clear, intentional action does. How many days have you wasted on things that don't move you forward? How many mornings have you woken up without a clear plan? How many times have you delayed the important stuff just because you felt not ready? Trust me, you'll never really feel ready. And you don't need to be ready to begin. You just need to begin. When you start pouring all your energy into building yourself with no distractions, no excuses, no one to blame, you'll see something magical happen. Everything around you seems to shift with you, not because the world has changed, but because you've changed how you see it. You no longer wait for someone to lead the way, you become the one who leads yourself. That doesn't mean you have to be alone, but it does mean you are the only one responsible for your life. No matter how hard you try, no one can train for you, no one can read for you, no one can conquer the self-doubt in your head, except you. And once you understand that, everything becomes simpler. Not easier, but clearer. And clarity is the first thing you need to change. I know, you might be tired, you might feel like you've tried too many times without results, but I'm telling you, that's not a reason to stop. That's the reason to truly begin. You don't need to wait for anyone anymore. You don't need anyone's permission to change. You don't need approval. You don't need others to believe in you. You only need you. Starting today, put everything into one thing, building yourself. No excuses, no stopping, no waiting. Focus entirely on you. And you will win. Not instantly, but inevitably, because if you don't do it, no one else will do it for you. And if you don't start today, you'll wake up on another day with the same regret, the same loop. But if you do start, one day you'll look back and say, thank you for not waiting. And that day, that will be the first day of the brightest chapter you've ever lived. Discipline, and not inspiration, is what gets you to the finish line. You don't need inspiration to change your life, you need discipline. That's the truth very few people want to hear. Because inspiration feels good while discipline is hard. Inspiration gives you feelings. Discipline gives you results. And if you're truly serious about getting to where you want to go, about building a life you can be proud of, then you must choose what gets you to the goal, not what makes you feel good in the moment. Inspiration is like the wind. It comes, lifts you up, makes you believe you can soar forever. But then it disappears. And if you never learn how to walk on your own feet, you'll fall again. You'll return to square one, waiting for another inspired day, living in the cycle of starting and giving up. That's how most people live, clinging to emotions instead of committing to action. Discipline doesn't need you to feel excited. It just needs you to show up every day, no matter how you feel. It doesn't demand perfection, just repetition. And that's why the most successful people aren't the most talented, but the most consistent. They don't wait for the right moment. They create it by doing the right thing persistently, even when no one cares, even when results are nowhere to be seen, even when everything inside them wants to quit. You think you lack motivation. In reality, you're only lacking a clear decision. The decision that from today onward, you will no longer live by your emotions. You won't let a tired morning, a rainy day, a criticism, or an invisible fear dictate your direction. You will act not because you feel ready, but because you know that if you do nothing, nothing will change. The discipline starts with the small things: going to bed early, waking up on time, exercising when no one's pushing you, studying one more hour even when you're tired, writing your plan while others are watching TV. These things may not be glamorous, but they are exactly what will change your life, because you're training your mind to do what needs to be done regardless of emotion, and a mind like that is the most powerful weapon in the world. Discipline is what keeps you going when results haven't shown up. It's what drives you to act when no one believes in you. It's what makes you not need validation, because you're living by a standard higher than what others expect of you. And one day, when success appears, people will think you got lucky. They won't know you've simply been working non-stop in silence. You won't always feel strong. There will be days when you want to give up, but that's exactly when discipline speaks. It's okay. We don't need a big win today. We just need to not quit. Discipline doesn't require you to win every day. It only asks that you don't surrender. And every day you stand firm is a day you get closer to your goal, even just a little. A little is enough if you build it long enough. You might not be more talented than others, but if you're more consistent, you will win. You might start later, but if you never stop, you'll get ahead. People often overestimate bursts and underestimate the power of steady effort, but it's steady effort that changes the game, not a flash of brilliance, but the thousands of moments when you choose to keep going, when no one sees you, when no one cheers, when everything inside you wants to let go. If you want a life others don't have, you must do what others aren't willing to do. They wait for inspiration, you build discipline. They follow emotion, you follow a plan. They act when it's easy, you act despite difficulty. And that's why you will win, not today, not tomorrow, but surely, because discipline, bit by bit, is turning you into someone unstoppable. I won't promise it'll be easy. I only promise it'll be worth it. Because once you understand the true value of discipline, you'll never go back to living by inspiration again. You won't need to feel ready. You just need to remember one thing. Action is your weapon. Discipline is your foundation. And your future, no matter how big, will be built from small things you're committed enough to do again and again, every day, not because you have to, but because you chose to be the person who sees it through to the end. Are you building yourself or just staying distracted? Sit down and answer this question honestly. Each day, are you building yourself, or are you just running in circles around things that temporarily help you forget your stagnation? Because if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. There's no such thing as standing still in the pursuit of personal growth. There's no concept of staying the same. Every minute you spend on things that don't serve your goal is a minute you're giving someone else the chance to get ahead. And the cost of distraction is always greater than you think. Distraction is not a flaw of the times, it's a choice. We live in a world where everything is fighting for your attention. News, social media, endless notifications, invitations, and non-stop comparisons. But no one is forcing you to click on meaningless videos. No one is making you respond to every negative opinion. No one is making you spend 3 hours a day watching other people's lives while forgetting your own. You are the one making those decisions. You're the one with your hands on the wheel. And if you don't control where your energy goes, you'll be swept away by everything that doesn't matter. You say you want success, you say you want to change, but have you truly centered your life around that, or are you still letting it be drowned out by petty distractions, draining relationships, and stories that have nothing to do with what you're trying to build? Don't lie to yourself. Everyone has the same 24 hours. How you use your time says everything about what you're really choosing to build, your future or your delay. Focus doesn't come naturally. It has to be protected, trained, and prioritized every day. And the first thing you need to learn is how to say no. No to meaningless conversations. No to the need to please everyone. No to the feeling that you must be everywhere. No to explaining yourself to people who've never tried to understand you. Because if you don't learn to reject what doesn't grow you, you'll never have the space to do what truly matters, building yourself. The question you need to repeat every day isn't, what should I do next? It's, will what I'm about to do bring me closer to the best version of myself? If the answer is no, then don't do it. It's that simple. Everything comes down to one principle. Every action you take, no matter how small, is either making you stronger or pulling you away from that strength. There's no gray zone. Imagine yourself as a building under construction. Every time you choose focus, you lay another brick. Every time you say no to distraction, you reinforce the foundation. And every time you give in to procrastination, you dismantle what you've worked so hard to build. It's not by chance that some people live with clarity and progress while others stay trapped in meaningless busyness. The difference isn't ability, it's focus. Don't underestimate the power of small daily choices. Don't think that missing just one class, skipping one workout, or sleeping in one morning doesn't matter. Because it's fine is the beginning of every setback. And it's the small, unchecked, undisciplined things that quietly sabotage everything you're building. No one else is tearing you down. You're allowing it to happen. One day, you'll look back and realize focus was the most valuable asset you ever had. It's what separates someone chasing their dream from someone who's constantly tired but doesn't know why. And I hope you don't wait until you've lost all your time, energy, and passion to realize that. So from now on, ask yourself once more, am I building myself or just staying distracted? And if the answer doesn't make you proud, change it today. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait for permission, because no one else gets to decide the direction of your life. No one is coming to save you from distraction. Only you, the one who chooses to reclaim focus, reset priorities, and start again, this time, for real. No one is obligated to believe in your dream. Your dream doesn't need to be understood by others, nor does it need to be approved. And the sooner you accept that, the less hurt you'll feel, the less time you waste seeking validation from people who don't live inside your mind, who don't carry the quiet longing you've held for so long. The truth is, no one is required to believe in your dream, except you. And if you don't stand up for it, no one else will. Maybe you've tried to share your dream with family, with friends, with colleagues. Maybe you received doubtful looks, polite smiles, or even well-meaning advice that killed your momentum. Be realistic. But the problem isn't that they don't love you. They just don't see what you see. They don't feel the fire burning quietly inside you. And that's okay, because dreams aren't meant to be understood by others. They're meant to be committed to by you. You must be the first to believe your dream is real. You must be the only one who keeps taking action even when the world is silent. Not because you're always sure you're right, but because you know one thing. If you give up on it, you'll never forgive yourself, because you'll live with the question forever, what if? And I know, and so do you, nothing hurts more than looking back and realizing you abandoned what mattered most just because you didn't have the courage to believe in it. I'm not saying every dream is easy to achieve. I'm saying no dream deserves to die just because you're afraid someone will laugh at it. There are things you carry in your heart that no one but you can see. Visions so vivid, you can touch them in your mind, but too fragile to explain out loud. That's when you must decide. Will you live to please the world, or live to not betray yourself? Don't wait for applause to start acting. Don't wait for someone to validate your dream before you believe it's worth chasing. Because if you need the world's cheers to take the first step, you'll forever be controlled by the sound of clapping. But when you act without needing to prove anything, without needing support, without needing anyone to agree, that's when you've truly grown. The truth is, people won't believe in you until you have results. And even when you do, some still won't. That's okay. You don't need to convince them. You only need to convince yourself every single day. That belief isn't blind faith, it's a choice. You choose to believe because you know you'll regret it if you don't try. You choose to believe because you know that every great thing began with someone who was misunderstood. Look at history. Every achievement was once a joke. Every pioneer was once doubted, isolated, misjudged. But they didn't fall. They didn't turn back. They kept going. And one day the world called them visionaries. But before that, there were just people who dared to believe, in solitude, in silence, in sleepless nights, when the world turned away. You'll be the same. There will be mornings when you wake up and ask, what am I even doing? There will be nights you sit alone and wonder, does anyone even understand me? But in those moments, if you still choose to continue, still take one more step, even a small one, you've won something big. You didn't betray yourself. I don't need you to be certain. I just need you to be honest with yourself. If that dream still gets you out of bed with a bit of excitement, if it still quietly pushes you forward even when no one believes in it, that's reason enough to keep going. No explanations needed, no permission required, just belief. Belief that's quiet, humble, and unapologetic. Just keep working in silence, keep showing up, and let time speak for you. Because one day, your results will say it all. And by then, you won't need anyone to believe in you, because you'll have proven it through the life you're living. But to get to that day, you have to begin today. With one single belief, no one is obligated to believe in your dream, except you. And if you believe in it long enough, deeply enough, and consistently enough, the world will have no choice but to recognize it. You have to be the one who shows up for yourself every day. No one can show up for you. No one can step into a cold morning, open their eyes in exhaustion and say, let me live today on your behalf. No one can carry the responsibility of fighting for you, protecting your dream, enduring the pressure you're under, or facing the fears that only you understand. In the end, you are the only one who can do that, and not just once, not just occasionally, but every single day. Showing up for yourself is not easy. It doesn't come from sudden sparks of inspiration or external motivation. It comes from something deeper. Commitment. A silent promise you make to yourself that no matter what happens, I will be there, I will keep going, I will not abandon myself, even when no one notices how hard I'm trying. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack consistency. They show up on Monday, then disappear by Friday. They start strong the first week, then quit halfway through because they're tired. They wait for inspiration, wait for someone to push them, wait for ideal conditions, without realizing that progress doesn't come from the days you feel great, but from the days you feel like doing nothing and still do it. It's in the bad days that you prove how strong you really are. When you're tired, discouraged, filled with doubt, but still choose to wake up early, to train, to complete what you said you would, that's when you're building an unshakable version of yourself. And the most beautiful part is, you don't need anyone to clap for that. You just need to know, deep down, today, I didn't run away. You must understand this. Self-respect doesn't come from compliments, it comes from action. Every time you do what you once promised, you strengthen your trust in yourself. Every time you complete something, no matter how small, you're building a foundation that no one can take away. On the flip side, every time you quit, you send yourself a dangerous message. I can't be trusted. And if you don't trust yourself, who will? Don't think consistency is some lofty ideal. Sometimes it's simply choosing to sit down and work, even when your mind feels like a mess. It's choosing water over a third cup of coffee. It's completing a small task instead of hiding in anxiety. Those small choices, repeated day after day, are what separate you from the rest. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. There will be days when you don't meet your expectations. That's okay. As long as you still show up, still try, still move forward, no matter how small the step, you're keeping the most important promise of all, not to abandon yourself. Others may not believe in you, they may doubt you, they may walk away, but you must not do that to yourself. Because if you disappear from your own journey, who will finish the story for you? If you don't fight for the things you want, you're handing your dream over to forgetfulness. And that forgetfulness doesn't come from a great tragedy, it comes from being absent for too long. Every morning you wake up is an opportunity, not to do something grand, but to do one simple thing: show up for yourself, for the dream you still haven't given up on, for the future you know you deserve. And if you can do that today, then tomorrow and the next day, you'll be surprised by the power you can create from one decision: I'm here, no matter what. No one can live for you, no one can walk for you, but if you commit to being the person who never abandons themselves every day, then nothing in this world can stop you from going further than anyone ever thought you could. Because in a world where most people only show up when it's easy, the ones who are truly admirable are those who choose to show up every day, not for recognition, but because they know the life they want can only be built through their own presence, one day at a time. Eliminate everything that makes you weaker, without mercy. If you're truly serious about your goal, what you need isn't more time, inspiration, or opportunities. What you need is the courage to eliminate. Eliminate the things silently draining your energy every single day, the things that seem harmless, even familiar, but are in fact the root causes of your exhaustion, your stagnation, and your self-doubt. Look closely, it's not that you lack strength. It's that you've allowed too many weakening forces to cling to your life for too long. And now is the time to be decisive. You can't build a strong future if you're still clinging to habits that are holding you back. You can't achieve focus if your mind is constantly being pulled apart by meaningless news, toxic conversations, or subtle comparisons with others. Every time you let yourself get caught up in something that adds no value, you're sacrificing a part of your future. And the truth is, you can't fight at full strength if you're always carrying the things that throw you off course. Eliminating is not harshness. It is an act of love toward yourself. You choose to say no, not because you're cold, but because you know you deserve better. You don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to please everyone. You don't have to hold on to relationships that have lost connection just because you're too polite to say no. You only need one thing to protect your mental space for growth, and that requires clarity and the strength to cross out anything that keeps you small. Every day, ask yourself, does this make me stronger? If not, cut it. That conversation, that content, that habit, that lifestyle, if it's not pushing you forward, it's pulling you back. There is no neutral zone. You're either building strength or depleting it. And if you're not brave enough to remove what's making you weak, you'll forever live within limits you've set for yourself. Not every relationship is worth keeping. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Some people exist only to make you hesitate, to make you doubt, to make you feel smaller than you really are. They may not be bad people, but they're no longer right for your path. And you must dare to walk away, not out of anger, but because you understand every moment spent with the wrong people is a moment you can't spend walking the right path. Not every piece of information deserves your attention. You don't need to know everything going on. You don't have to react to every trend. Every time you open your phone, you're choosing one of two things: to absorb what helps you grow, or to waste your attention on chaos that serves nothing. Your mind is not a trash bin. Don't let anyone throw in whatever they want. And most importantly, not every thought in your head is true. There are beliefs that are outdated, false, and no longer serve you, but you still hold on to them out of habit. The belief that you're not good enough, that you can't, that someone like you shouldn't dream too big. All of it is mental garbage. And if you don't clean it out, it will cover every opportunity with a layer of dust. Start by eliminating the negative voice within you. Learn to say, I don't need to hear this anymore, because truly you don't. Eliminating isn't easy, but you're not here to live an easy life. You're here to become strong, clear, and unshakable. And that only happens when you're brave enough to decide what stays and what must go. No successful path is built on a cluttered mind, a chaotic environment, or a heart too exhausted from carrying what no longer fits. If you want space to grow, you must make room for it. If you want a solid foundation, you must remove the things rotting underneath. And if you want to grow stronger, you must be willing to let go of whatever is quietly making you weaker, without hesitation, without regret. This isn't an option. This is a requirement if you're truly serious about the future you want. And if you do it, you'll feel one thing clearly: lighter, clearer, stronger with each passing day. And stop blaming. Everything is your responsibility. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck isn't about circumstances or starting points. It's about how they view problems. One person asks, what can I do next? The other asks, who's to blame for this? And right at that moment, their lives split into two completely different paths. One chooses control, the other chooses victimhood. One takes responsibility, the other casts blame. And that attitude, not talent, luck, or conditions, is what determines everything about their future. I understand some things in your life weren't fair. There were hurts, failures, wrong turns that weren't entirely your fault. But be honest, does continuing to blame others make you stronger? Does it improve your life? Or does it just keep you trapped longer in a sense of helplessness disguised as a valid reason? You can't be both the victim and the leader of your life. You have to choose. If you keep telling yourself, I can't because of that person, this thing, the past, society, then without realizing it, you're handing control of your life over to someone else. You're saying, I'm not responsible for why I haven't achieved what I want. And that, while it may sound reasonable, is actually the fastest way to drain your own power. This responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself or carrying all the fault. It simply means accepting that from this point forward, I can change. I can't control everything, but I can control how I respond. I can't change the past, but I can decide how I live today. And once you accept that, you've already taken a bigger step than 90% of people out there. Those still stuck in the question, why is this happening to me, instead of, what can I do now? You know what's more powerful than motivation? It's self-responsibility. Because when you have no one left to blame, you're forced to look within. And in that reflection, you begin to see your real strength, your ability to change yourself, to steer your life, to stand back up without needing a hand. Owning your responsibility is the first step to maturity. It's a quiet yet powerful act, where you stop asking others what to do and start asking, have I done my part? I'm not saying this journey is easy. I'm saying it's worth it. When you begin to live as though everything in your life is the result of choice, not fate, you free yourself. You no longer rely on others to apologize, to acknowledge, to make amends. You focus solely on doing your part well, and that is the only real way to move forward. Stop blaming not because others deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. Freedom from the past, from regret, from the mindset of if only. All you need is one decision, that no matter what's happened before, you will no longer let it define you, not for another day. You won't use it as an excuse for staying stuck. From now on, you take responsibility. And from then on, you reclaim the power to build something better. The truth is, no one is coming to fix your life. There is no rescue team for forgotten dreams. There is no compensation for the days you chose to delay yourself. But no one can stop you from standing up right now and changing everything. All it takes is the courage to face the truth without denial, without excuses. All it takes is the courage to say, whatever happens, I'm the one who will take responsibility and begin again. Everyone carries wounds, pain, personal failures, but only a few choose not to let those things dictate their future. Don't wait for someone to apologize. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for permission. You already have what it takes to begin if you stop blaming and start acting. Because in the end, no one else is going to live this life for you, and responsibility, as heavy as it may seem, is the highest form of freedom. When you want to give up, push even harder. No one ever said this journey would be easy. No one promised that you'd always be sharp, full of energy, full of belief. There will be days when it feels like you're walking through fog, no clear direction, no results, no reason to keep going. Days when everything you do seems pointless, too small, not enough to make a difference. And it's in that exact moment, when your mind starts whispering, maybe it's time to stop, that you must do the opposite. Push even harder. Because the feeling of wanting to quit is not a signal to stop. It's a test. It's life asking you, do you really want this, or do you just like the idea of it? Everyone is excited on day one. Everyone commits easily when motivation is high. But the person who finishes is not the one who started strongest. It's the one who doesn't quit in their weakest moment. And the truth is, those very moments when you feel the weakest are the foundation of real strength. When you feel tired, discouraged, doubtful, it's not because you're on the wrong path. It's because you're approaching the edge of your old comfort zone. And every great thing lies just beyond that feeling of wanting to give up. We often think we should rest when we're tired, but sometimes rest isn't the answer, it's the trap that teaches you to surrender too easily, to compromise, to settle for less when you should be doing more. And then you wonder why you're still stuck, even though you've tried so hard. The problem isn't that you didn't try, it's that you always stopped just before things were about to shift. You never knew how close you were because you turned away too soon. Sometimes, just a little more, one more effort is all it takes. One last email, one more workout, one more lesson, one more morning without quitting. but you'll never know unless you keep going through the moment you feel weakest. Perseverance is not something you use only when you feel inspired. It's what you must activate when there's nothing left to motivate you, when no one is praising you, when no one is around, when results are invisible, when it feels like you're repeating the same thing over and over. That is the real moment of training. That is when you build mental toughness, not with emotion, but with a decision to continue. Do you think successful people never want to quit? They do. They get tired, confused, overwhelmed, just like you. But they're different in one thing. They don't let emotion decide the ending. They don't let a bad day define the entire journey. They know that if they stop every time they're tired, they'll never go far. And the same goes for you. If you only act when it's easy, you'll always be the one left behind. Remember why you started. It wasn't because it was convenient. It was because it mattered. Because you once saw a bigger, deeper vision of yourself. Don't let a moment of fatigue erase that. Rest if you must, but don't change direction. Slow down if you need to, but don't turn back. Because if you quit now, you don't just lose your effort, you lose your trust in yourself. And next time you start something new, that voice saying, "You'll give up again," will grow even louder. Successful people are not those who've never felt like giving up. They're the ones who've faced that feeling 100 times, and every time they kept going. You can do that too. It doesn't have to be dramatic, just one more step, one more hour, one more day of not giving up. Push a little harder, especially when everything in you wants to stop. And then you'll discover, beyond that tiredness is not exhaustion, it's a breakthrough. In the end, what will make you proud is not that you did everything easily, it's that you didn't retreat when things got hard. What will change you is not the happy days, it's the day you almost gave up but didn't. Because in that moment, you are no longer just someone trying, you become someone unbreakable. And that is the only version of you that deserves to reach the finish line. Believe in the process, even when you don't see the results. You won't always see results. Not every day will come with a clear win. There will be mornings when you wake up and feel like all your efforts are fading into nothing. Days when you do everything right and still see no change. You stay disciplined, stay consistent, reject ease, fight in silence, but the outcome, still silence. And in that silence, you'll face two choices: continue or quit. Most people don't give up because they're incapable. They give up because they're impatient. They plant the seed and then stare at the soil, expecting it to sprout instantly. And when nothing shows, after a few days, they say it's not working and walk away. But you know this: nothing truly valuable appears instantly. No muscle is built overnight. No career is born from a single week of hard work. No mental strength is developed if you keep quitting just because the results aren't immediate. You have to learn to love the process, trust it, even if it's slow, even if it's quiet, even if it brings you nothing today, because you don't realize that every time you choose to read one more page instead of scrolling your phone, every workout you complete even though no one sees it, every small decision you stick to, you're building something far greater than visible results. You're building a new version of yourself, a dependable, grounded, unshakable version, one that isn't swayed by temporary gains or losses. The process never betrays you. What betrays you is impatience, the urge to see outcomes too soon, the habit of using reward as your only motivator instead of valuing internal growth. When you focus only on the destination, you miss the real value in how you travel. But if you learn to appreciate every step, every day, every small change, you'll discover that results are no longer the sole definition of success. Real growth doesn't happen on stage, it happens behind the scenes. The hours you spend working when no one's watching, the times you say no to temptation while everyone else gives in, the days you feel inadequate but still choose to keep going, all of that is the process. And if you can stay loyal to it, you'll go further than anyone too busy comparing results. Imagine a seed underground. You don't see anything for days, but underneath its roots are spreading, seeking soil, anchoring deep, gathering life. Then one day it bursts above the surface. Not because it worked harder that day, but because it never stopped working all the days before. You're the same. Don't measure your value based on whether someone recognizes you today, whether you see progress yet, whether you get numbers, feedback, or applause, because sometimes results come last, long after the effort. but if you're steady enough, they will come. The problem isn't that you're not good enough. It's that you haven't had enough days, enough hours, enough experience. And that's not wrong. No one runs well when they've just learned to walk. No one is clear at the beginning. You have to give yourself time. But time alone isn't enough. You must do the work during that time. Be consistent, be present, keep the rhythm, even when no one notices. Results are a consequence, not the goal. Don't live by, I'll be happy when I achieve something. Live by, I'm happy because I'm doing my part every day. That persistence is what makes you different. That belief in the process, it's not fleeting emotion, is what keeps you grounded when everything feels uncertain. Don't quit just because you haven't seen anything yet. Nothing is wasted if you're still doing the right thing. No day is meaningless if you're still committed. No step is too small if your heart is in it. Because someday, when you least expect it, the result will come. And you realize it was the days when nothing seemed to happen that mattered most, because you didn't give up, you believed in the process, and you were right. No matter how many times you fall, get back up one more time. You will fall. Not once, but many times. Fall because of mistakes, because of miscalculations, misplaced trust, impatience, betrayal, or simply because you weren't ready yet. But falling doesn't mean you've lost. You only lose when you refuse to rise. Defeat doesn't lie in the fall, it lies in the decision. How long you choose to stay down. The difference between success and failure isn't the number of falls, it's that successful people always get up. One more time. Have you ever looked back at a failure you once thought was the end, only to later realize it was just a chapter, not the conclusion? Life doesn't reward those who've never made mistakes. It rewards those who dare to learn from them and keep moving forward. Every time you get back up, you're not just continuing, you're telling the world you're not easily broken, that you don't belong to the group of people who vanish forever after a single fall. A fall can leave you bleeding, bruised, and exhausted, but it can't take away the one thing you need to continue, your will. And the beautiful thing is, willpower doesn't depend on conditions. It doesn't come from results, recognition, or luck. It comes from one very clear decision. I'm not done here. As long as you choose to keep going, you still have the right to rewrite your story. And no one can take that right away from you, except you. Don't fear failure, fear letting one small failure destroy a great potential. There are people who could have succeeded if only they hadn't quit after the third attempt. There are dreams that could have become reality if their owners hadn't folded them away after a few harsh words. There are powerful versions of people that never came to life simply because they chose not to rise one more time. But you are different. You may fall 7 times, but be the one who stands up the 8th. Because if you rise just one more time, you win. Winning doesn't mean getting everything you want immediately. Winning means you don't let any failure define your worth. Winning means telling yourself, I'm not stopping here, I deserve better, and I will start again. That simple statement, if repeated enough, lived out with integrity, acted on day by day, can change the entire course of your life. I know, some falls are so painful you don't want to talk about them. Some moments knock you down not because you're weak, but because you're completely drained. Some nights you cry in silence and ask yourself, can I really get back up again? And I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. Not because it's easier, but because you're stronger than you think. Inside you is a power that hasn't been activated until you hit bottom and still choose to rise. Every time you stand up, you are redefining yourself. You're sending a message to your mind, your subconscious, your entire life that you are someone who does not quit. And once that becomes part of your identity, life begins to respond differently. Opportunities start to open, new people begin to show up. Your resilience multiplies, not because the world changed, but because you change how you walk through it. Giving up doesn't mean forgetting the pain. It means choosing not to let pain dictate your destiny. You learn from it. You keep the lesson, but let go of the heaviness. You become tougher, sharper, wiser because of the fall. And one day you look back and be grateful for it, because without that fall, you wouldn't be strong enough to step into the future you truly deserve. In the end, remember this, no one's counting how many times you fall. People only remember what you did after it all. And more importantly, you will be the only one who truly knows how many times you were disappointed, broke down, lost your way, and still didn't surrender. That's the deepest kind of victory. That's why no matter what happens, no matter how many times you fall, just get up one more time.